high-tech oils, available from Auto One, Sprint Auto Parts, and all leading independent auto stores.
The Audi Sport TT Cup, an opportunity for the young generation, for young, hopeful motorsport talents. It's a matter of competing and proving oneself. In order to become part of the new series, the youngsters have to pass a tough selection procedure, at the end of which only the best out of 165 entrants will get into one of the coveted cockpits. We were able to get together 18 drivers from 13 nations from different countries and racing classes. A strong performance and a safe handling of the cars, however, are not like manna from heaven. Good preparation is the key for success. And in order to ensure success, this motorsports series comes with a special feature. The young drivers are continuously coached and accompanied by very special people. With Marco Werner, a three-time Le Mans champion, and Marcus Winkelhock, a successful GT driver, we have two people on the team who are able to see things due to their many years of experience. These two are a very important factor, their confidence to the field of drivers. And we in my team ensure that all organizational matters run smoothly, while the content and the driver training rest on Marcus and Marco's shoulders. The first tests will take place in Barcelona, of course focusing on the new company car. Above all, it is a matter of getting a feel for the new racing car, getting to know the particularities and acquainting oneself with the so-called push-to-pass feature, which allows the driver to temporarily add 30 horsepower at the push of a button.
It's much more fun because there will be a lot more overtaking action, and for drivers it's also a good training because we get more chance to battle with each other, and we can get more wheel-to-wheel action, and that will help in our experience.
The Barcelona experience will be remembered, even if it was only the first test. The talents are already highly motivated, committed and full of anticipation.
I
enjoyed it incredibly. It was a new task for me to share my knowledge and to deal with young talents. I think the boys and girls enjoyed it as much as I did. Testing their driving skills on the Circuit de Catalunya is only one part of the preparation. After the selection procedure, the young wild ones have to face a very special, rather non-motorsports training session, a team-building session in the snow. The 18 drivers get to spend a day with biathlon legend Michael Greis. On the training agenda, coordination, accuracy and focusing on a specific target. Go! A nice diversion from the tarmac and an educational practice for all participants. After a promising preparation, everything is set for the season opener at Hockenheim. It's a very, very close call. The track times are really quite similar. That's exactly what we wanted. The entire TT Cup team and myself are proud and happy to have chosen such a strong team of drivers this year. Thus, the events at the season opener are nothing to sneeze at. The 310 horsepower racing cars prove they do not have to hide behind the other racing classes. But it is especially down to the pilots now to show what they are capable of. Due to absolutely identical cars, driving skills are the decisive factor in the end, so nerves are bound to be in tatters sometimes. You're always nervous, that's it. If you weren't nervous before a race, it would be odd. You have to be a bit nervous. At the first weekend in May, 18 young guns from 13 countries, as well as 6 guest entrants, put their mark on the series as the opening race packs a punch. full-on action in 2 races of 30 minutes each, including exciting overtaking manoeuvres. In the first race, Marc Coliselli performs best. Even before the first bend, the Austrian manages to overtake the pole setter Nikolaj Müller-Madsen from Denmark and to defend his lead right through to the end of the race. A historic victory. After all, the 21-year-old Salzburg native will go down in history as the first winner of an Audi Sport TT Cup race. For many of the drivers, this has been their first race ever, and if they're able to keep their performance levels up, we'll definitely see some exciting races this year. The Dane Müller-Madsen is not willing to acquiesce in the close defeat of the first race and takes the pole again in the second race, but this time defending his lead despite a turbulent beginning. However, the competition is closing in. And in lap 9, Dennis Marshall pulls ahead. The native German is able to maintain the leading position until the end of the race and thus takes the lead in the championship standings. I'm so delighted that everybody who's behind me, who made it possible for me to compete here, to prove myself, that these people support me so much. That's just unbelievable. The second venue at Neureuther is ennobled by guest entrants Prince Albert von Thurn und Taxis and Pierre Casiraghi from the Principality of Monaco, who prove that not only blue blood but also petrol is running in their veins.
Neureuther is a very simple circuit, but a very challenging circuit. At the level of run-out zones, you have basically none. You have only walls, which limit the track, which makes it quite interesting. You really have to know where to brake, which line to take, and what to do.
In addition to the ordinary racing action at Neureuther, there is also a royal challenge, where especially Pierre Casiraghi gets an idea what real racing is all about. Despite the spins during the races, excitement is palpable.
Fantastic weekend. I really enjoyed the car and the track. Finished 1 race out of 2, so you know it's not full satisfaction, but it was really fun and you know, very enjoyable.
But of course, in the end, it's the fun and pure driving pleasure that were paramount. Whereas for the permanent contestants, there is more to it than that. Who will snatch the win at Neureuther? Who will climb the podium? Sean Thong from Hong Kong dominates the first race. The 19-year-old scores a clear lights to flag victory.
Everyone got the same car, and the drivers can do really small amount of changes to the car, so it's really driver dependent. It's all about how you get on with the car, and it's all about the details, about tire pressure and how precise are you with the car. And I think especially in Neureuther, it's such a small circuit, and 1/10 can make a big difference.
His opponents, Jan Kizil from Poland and Nikolaj Müller-Madsen from Denmark, finished second and third. And Müller-Madsen has ambitious plans for the second race on Sunday. Nothing less than finally scoring his first victory. That's his goal after having climbed the podium 3 times so far. With clever tactics, the Dane initially avoids any dangerous duels and then takes the lead in lap 8 and keeps it right through to the end.
This is my 4th time to be in this top step. It's just a perfect feeling.
The race at Neureuther was topped off by the first place on the podium for a female contestant in this still very young series.
Also ich bin so glücklich, dass ich bin jetzt auf dem Podium.
I am so happy to have made it to the podium, and that I'm the first female to get a place on the podium in the TT Cup. That's so great. I had to fight hard on my final lap, but I really enjoyed myself in the other laps.
So viel Spaß gemacht.
The third venue leads us to Austria, to Spielberg to be more precise. But instead of enjoying the Alpine idyll, it is time to put the pedal to the metal. Especially the top three of the standings need no second invitation. Kizil, Müller-Madsen and Marshall engage in a big fight for the podium, which Kizil, the Pole, wraps up in the end. His first victory and of course something special.
I'm really happy, finally first place. Just to remind 5 different winners in this cup.
The German Dennis Marschall ranked second, coming out on top after a tough but fair fight with Nikolai Müller-Madsen.
Yeah, I would like to be that 5, but it's nice. It just showed that the championship is so strong. So many good drivers. You go to new track, it's new drivers. You go in the wet, it's new drivers. And yeah, it shows a lot about the TT Cup that we have 5 different winners. So.
The proximity to the mountains, of course, plays a special role in Spielberg. And that is why also some very special guest entrants are on the starting grid. For Felix Neureuther, Aksel Lund Svindal and Marcel Hirscher, the motto is, from the slopes to the racetrack. A not-so-everyday challenge even for such experienced athletes like the 3 Alpine skiing aces.
It's so much fun. It's, I mean, to get the chance to do something like this is, it's incredible. It's a real race car and we're allowed to push it to the limit. It's, I mean, you have respect, so you feel the adrenaline, but it makes a lot of fun.
Das Adrenalin fließt.
For 30 minutes, the adrenaline flows in very large doses.
Sehr großen Dosierungen.
This is a childhood dream come true, definitely. Driving a car at its max and being able to experience all this is brilliant.
Ist genial.
Men become small children and the sheer driving pleasure becomes evident. Though this should not hide the fact that despite all the anticipation of the race, they are first and foremost contestants. In the end, it is Marcel Hirscher who wins the trial of strength. After 2 events, the Austrian takes the lead in his home game, ahead of his rivals from Germany and Norway, although it was anything but easy, especially on Sunday. A look to the sky just before the second event unfortunately did not augur well. Torrential rainfall makes life difficult for the drivers. There are some bad accidents, so that those responsible decide to end the race prematurely, and rightly so. So we have reached half-time. 6 races have been run, 6 more are to follow, now to Oschersleben. Germany's most northern racetrack is dominated by Polish national Jan Kizil. His first rank in Spielberg has obviously given him wings. In the first run, it takes until lap 8 before Kizil takes the lead from German contestant Dominik Peitz. After that, he easily brings home victory. In Oschersleben, Kizil was in such good form which made his rivals almost shake in their boots. With his pole position in this second race and a perfect start, he laid the foundation for his second victory that weekend. For the 3rd time this season, the driver from Warsaw got to see the checkered flag before everyone else.
I really like this track. This is one of my favorite tracks. In Clio Cup I also won 2 races in the qualifying, so what can I say, Oschersleben is very lucky for me.
After his 2 successive victories, the Pole takes the lead in the overall standings. Also because his most important rivals, Dennis Marschall and Nikolai Müller-Madsen, surprisingly missed a place on the podium in Oschersleben. We look at all the details very closely, we watch the videos to see what we did wrong, so we're able to attack again and race for victory, perhaps already at Nürburgring. 2 weeks later at the venerable Nürburgring, Marschall and Müller-Madsen get their chance to make it up, but even at Nürburgring, they will only partially succeed, especially because Jan Kazil will certainly deny them easy victory. In both races, his opponents only see his rear lights, and so the Pole is able to clinch his first, 4th, and then even his 5th consecutive victory.
Well, I feel really good actually. So general classification looks nice, both rounds were really nice.
Only Dennis Marschall was able to keep up to some degree with his 2 second places. It was a really thrilling race. At the beginning I had trouble with my tyres and had to struggle to keep the pursuing cars behind me. Luckily it worked. Halfway through the race I was racing at a great speed and was even able to close in on Jan, but it didn't suffice unfortunately. Thanks to his 2 consecutive wins, Jan Kazil increased his chance of winning the championship enormously before the season finale at Hockenheimring. With only 50 points yet to be awarded, the Pole has a lead of 35 points on Nikolai Müller-Madsen and 34.5 points on Dennis Marschall, ranking 3rd. It is all or nothing now. The last 2 races of the season lie ahead, and leader Jan Kazil becomes the hunted. Especially the Dane Müller-Madsen wants to have another go at Hockenheim and pushes his company car to the limit in order to make the unexpected happen. While he was still behind Kazil at the start, the 2nd of the overall ranking closes in during the course of the race, while the Pole loses ground at the same time. He ends up in 6th place. Müller-Madsen finishes 3rd. The reckoning begins. The result? Jan Kazil has done it. The 21-year-old from Warsaw is the champion.
I feel very excited, and it's a big surprise for me because at the beginning of the season, the first round here on Hockenheim was not very good, so our target was be in the top 5 and so on, then top 3. And finally, when we reached the half of the season, I scored lots of points. I took the lead in the championship, and my goal was to finish as a champion, so I made it. I'm really happy about it.
But before we deal with the big Kazil party, we will turn our attention to the guest entrants of the weekend, particularly the WEC drivers René Rast and Marco Bonanomi. The 2 teammates compete as rivals in the Audi Sport TT Cup. René Rast wins the first race and is thus the first guest entrant to clinch a victory in the new series.
I had a lot of fun. The push to pass button really works. We saw a lot of overtaking today, and for the drivers it's really nice to fight, to learn how to fight with the push to pass, and also to put a strategy before the race, because sometimes you can use the push to pass at the beginning of the race, some use it at the end. So everybody has his own strategy, and that's I think a good preparation for the future.
Of course, Bonanomi did not want to leave it at that and really puts his foot down in the second race on Sunday. It pays off. The Italian scores a commanding victory, so both WEC drivers can top off their excursion to the series with a great success.
Well, for me it was a huge fun, hard battle, but I have to say a very fair battle with the guys. And I hope also you enjoyed from the TV. But today I had a little bit more luck, and I'm sorry with René that I had to come for the drive-through. If not, I think would not have been the same chance to win, because he was a bit faster than me again. But I had a really huge fun with these cars and with the guys.
Among the permanent contestants, it is Jonas Lappalainen who dominates the weekend. The Finn wins both races and ends up fourth in the overall standings.
Today we put a really good show with Marco, René, Jan and Nikolai. Was simply unbelievable. It was so tight.
As already seen, concerning the top ranks, the die is cast. In the final race of this season, Nikolai Müller-Madsen comes in second, Jan Kizil third.
We did a really good weekend, beat Jan twice, showed we could be up with the guys, and that's the important thing for me now, to finish good, with good speed, and just taking a lot of confidence into the winter testers.
Now it is finally time to celebrate. Together with Nikolai Müller-Madsen and the German Dennis Marschall, second and third of the season, Kizil pops the corks and receives the trophy for the best driver. A success that will certainly stay with him for a long time.
Definitely, if somebody would tell me at the beginning of the season, do I take place 3, let's say, I would take it. But being a champion of this series is a really big thing for me.
It was a successful inaugural season, not only for him. I was a bit skeptical at the beginning as to how you can actually start such a race, the TT Cup, from scratch, but I am extremely satisfied on the last day of the series. Jan Kizil, the best driver of the series, is of course more than happy with what was going on this season. Not only when looking back but also looking ahead, the future looks absolutely bright for Kizil and for the next season of the racing series.
This car is brilliant. I believe the next step is GT Masters, so the R8. So that's my target for the future.
Next year we will probably have 4 instead of 6 guest entrants. This will give us 2 additional permanent places in the cockpit. This will add to the internationalization. The Audi Sport TT Cup 2015. An extraordinary motorsports event. Exciting, thrilling, fascinating, and with a well-deserved champion called Jan Kizil.
There's plenty more action to come after the break as the YRD Australasian Supersport Championship hits the tarmac at Winton Motor Raceway as part of the penultimate round of the Swan Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship.